The lights of the Philippines Got Talent stage glowed brightly, reflecting on the faces of the audience as a middle-aged man and his young son slowly walked out from behind the curtain. The father, Ramon de la Cruz, looked nervous but proud. His hands were rough, showing years of hard work as a tricycle driver in Cebu City, while his son Miguel, a shy but bright-eyed 12-year-old, clutched a small guitar that had clearly seen many years of use. The host asked them about their story, and Ramon smiled gently before saying, "We are just simple people, sir. But music helped us survive. This song is for every parent who never stops loving their child." His words earned applause even before they sang a single note. As they positioned themselves on stage, the spotlight fell softly upon them. Ramon took a deep breath and strummed the first chord, his fingers trembling slightly. The sound was raw, real, and full of soul. Miguel's voice entered a few seconds later, light, pure, and angelic. The combination of his youthful tone and his father's deep, steady harmony created a sound that instantly captured everyone's heart. The lyrics told their personal story, a family who once laughed together, ate together, and sang every night, until tragedy struck. The song described how Miguel's mother had passed away after a long illness, leaving the two of them broken yet determined to keep her memory alive through music. Each word carried love, pain, and healing all at once. The audience sat in silence, some already wiping their tears. Ramon's eyes glistened as he sang about working under the sun, driving passengers across the busy streets of Cebu to feed his son, while Miguel's soft voice expressed how proud he was of his father's sacrifices. Their harmonies blended perfectly, as if the song had been written by their hearts long before they knew they would sing it here. The camera panned across the judges, each visibly touched. Simon Cowell, known for his honesty and strict critiques, leaned forward with an unusual softness in his expression. Miguel reached the chorus, raising his voice with emotion, singing, "Papa, your hands may be rough, but they hold my dreams." At that line, a murmur went through the audience. It was the kind of lyric that didn't just entertain, it connected. The crowd started to sway gently, feeling the depth of their story. Ramon's voice grew stronger, and the two locked eyes, smiling through tears as they finished the song together. As the final note echoed, silence filled the studio. It wasn't the silence of indifference, it was the silence that follows something truly beautiful. Then, suddenly, the audience rose to their feet in a thunderous standing ovation. People clapped, shouted, and cheered while Ramon bowed his head humbly. Miguel covered his face, overwhelmed by emotion. For that one moment, this small father and son duo from Cebu weren't just contestants. They were symbols of love, resilience, and the power of family. As the applause filled the entire studio, Simon Cowell remained seated for a moment, his eyes fixed on the father and son standing under the warm glow of the stage lights. The other judges were already on their feet, visibly emotional, but Simon's face carried an expression that showed something deeper, a mix of admiration and disbelief. He finally stood, his hand covering his mouth, as if words couldn't fully capture what he had just witnessed. The camera zoomed in on him, capturing the rare moment when the famously tough judge's eyes glistened with emotion. He leaned toward the microphone and said softly, "Ramon and Miguel, I don't think I've seen something this pure in a very long time." His voice cracked slightly, and the audience grew quiet again, eager to hear every word. That song, it wasn't just music. It was your life. You didn't come here to impress us, you came here to share your hearts, and that is what true art is. His comment made Ramon lower his head humbly, gripping Miguel's shoulder as tears began to fall freely. Simon paused for a second, as though he was still processing what he had felt. When you sang, I saw love. I saw strength. And I saw a father doing everything he can for his son. That is the kind of story the world needs right now." His voice rose slightly, filled with genuine warmth. Then, without another word, Simon pressed the golden buzzer. A loud sound filled the arena, followed by an explosion of golden confetti cascading from the ceiling. The entire hall erupted in screams and cheers. Ramon dropped to his knees, overwhelmed, covering his face with both hands as tears streamed down. Miguel gasped in shock, unable to move at first, until Simon stood up and clapped for them, smiling widely, something the audience rarely saw. Ramon opened his arms, and Miguel ran into them, both of them crying and laughing at the same time while gold glitter covered their shoulders. The judges stood, applauding and smiling. One of them shouted over the noise, "That was a golden buzzer moment if there ever was one." Simon pointed at Ramon and Miguel and said, "You two are what this show is all about, family, heart, and real music." His words were simple, but they carried the weight of truth. The confetti kept falling like a dream that refused to end. The father and son held each other tightly, the audience chanting their names, Ramon and Miguel. Ramon and Miguel. For the first time in their lives, two ordinary souls from Cebu had made the world stop and listen, not with fame or glamour, but with sincerity and love that no one could forget. Backstage, the lights dimmed slightly as the golden confetti still clung to Ramon and Miguel's clothes. Their faces glowed with disbelief and joy, their hearts pounding after what felt like a dream. Ramon was still wiping his eyes, unable to stop smiling, while Miguel clutched the small guitar that had carried their story to the world. Crew members, contestants, and even security guards approached them with hugs and congratulations. Some wiped their own tears as they said, "You made everyone cry out there." Miguel laughed shyly, whispering, "I thought I'd forget the lyrics, Papa," and Ramon gently placed his hand on his son's head, replying, "You didn't, Anak. You made your mother proud." Moments later, Simon Cowell walked into the backstage area, his demeanor calm yet filled with admiration. Cameras followed him as he approached the duo. Ramon and Miguel quickly stood, unsure of what to say, but Simon smiled warmly, a genuine, heartfelt smile rarely seen on television. "You two," he began, shaking his head softly, "I don't think I've ever felt something so honest. What you did on that stage was magic." He crouched slightly to Miguel's level and added, "You have a gift, young man. But what makes you special is that you sing from love, not from ego. That's what makes great artists." Ramon, still overwhelmed, said in a trembling voice, "Sir Simon, we didn't come to win. We came to thank God for music, and for the chance to sing for people who would listen." Simon nodded deeply, visibly touched. "And that," he said, "is why you did win. Because you sang for something bigger than yourself." He placed a comforting hand on Ramon's shoulder before turning to the camera crew. "Moments like this remind me why I love doing this show. It's not about the biggest voices or the flashiest performances. It's about truth. And tonight, that truth came from a small stage in the Philippines." As Simon walked away, Ramon and Miguel looked at each other, their eyes filled with quiet pride. Miguel whispered, "Papa, do you think Mama saw us?" Ramon smiled gently, gazing upward. "Yes, Anak. She was watching from the best seat in heaven." Outside the studio, clips of their performance began flooding social media. Within hours, millions across the Philippines were sharing the video titled, "Father-Son Duo from Cebu Wins Simon Cowell's Golden Buzzer." News outlets called them, "the heart of Cebu." Strangers wrote messages of love, saying their song made them hug their families tighter. What started as a simple dream from a small city had become a story that touched the entire nation, a reminder that love, family, and faith can create music that even the world's toughest judge can't resist.